This is Angie with Angie B TV. I'm here with the renowned legacy chef Vincent Moore. Good evening, Chef Moore. How are you?
Hey Angie, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. This Friday evening. Yes,
Yes,
yes. It's nice to meet you.
yeah, it's a fabulous Friday.
It is.
Yes,
It
it's a
is.
pleasure. I'm looking forward to
Yes,
having a conversation and just having everything just go the way it goes.
yes, yes. Me too. I'm looking forward to it. Um,
How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Yes. So
Absolutely.
you've been a chef for many years. Um, you're a well-known chef, internationally known, well regarded. Can you tell me how you started, how old were you when you first started cooking and who were your influences growing up?
Absolutely. I kind of started not on my own. Um, I come from a legacy down in New Orleans, and we
Okay.
say Nolans,
Garlic, yes.
of chefs. And my legacy goes all the way through before there were culinary schools and all those wonderful things that were out there that were available to for folks of color. A lot of the renowned chefs and creators of many dishes,
Hmm.
usually back in those days, they were a big event or big restaurant or something that was having for a major party. They knew who the great chefs were, and so they would grab one of my lineage
Okay.
relatives. They would go through the back. They would
Oh,
do all the creations, and then they would leave. And then the onboard chef there would take all the credit.
oh, that wasn't right.
So
Hmm.
yeah, but that's how those days were.
Back in the
And
day, right.
back in the day, but it didn't change anything. Everybody knew who was the anchor in that culinary aspect. So a lot of my relatives created so many and created and helped so many other chefs throughout the years, and so that tends to grow on itself.
Okay.
And they know by the name that where you're associated and what family you're with and what kinds of capability culinary wise that you are able to do. Well, to fast forward
Okay.
that, my grandfather was the number one chef in New Orleans, and he
Oh,
passed all the culinary gifts to my mother. And
nice.
so she's a homemaker, didn't know the difference. We are just getting great fruit food every single day.
Yeah, that was probably awesome.
And that was incredible. So my starting point was at the age of 6. I was kind
Oh.
of a rebellious child. And so my mother would give me the option
Hmm.
for her punishment. One was going to be sit here as she watched her wonderful series of daytime television soap operas.
Oh, yeah, my mom loved The
And
Young and the Restless. That was hers.
yeah, yeah. And so I had to, and if I fell asleep, there was the alternative, which we call down south the slipper whooping.
Oh.
And that's not what we want, what I wanted. So
Hmm.
the secondary choice she gave me was to be her kitchen helper, to go in. So I quickly say a kitchen helper before I
Okay.
even know what it was. So I started. And then through those years, I became to like it. So whenever I was getting in trouble, my mom's like, well, you got to be in the kitchen with me and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And I said, oh, mom, no. But I'm really going, yes, this is kind of cool. So
Okay.
I'm in there learning this. But what I really loved the most was the stories and the ability of what my mom was teaching. She was teaching the prep work,
Okay.
which is one of the most important things that most culinary chefs know about. The cleaning aspects, the stuff that's the technical stuff, the slicing, the cleanliness, all those different things, as well as learning how to prepare what it is you're going to do. So you have a flow. That's usually
Okay.
what tends to happen with most chefs is you wonder how they're able to cook so many things in such a short amount of time. Is that's what they build up is through that course of time is that prep
The
work.
prep.
And that's
Okay.
Yes, and they're creating what they're doing as they go. Sometimes it's a little different. Sometimes
Mhm.
they're adjusting. Most people will ask at the time, what's the difference between a cook and a chef? Well, the chef is going to be commander of that kitchen. They're
Okay,
going to create. They won't necessarily have the cookbook in front of them going down step by step by step by step of that recipe. They're actually creating it as they go along.
nice. Okay.
And then they'll write it down after the fact. So
Well, I
that is
appreciate
one of the wonderful things. That's why I am called a legacy chef,
that's awesome.
because
Well,
that's
I
what I've
appreciate
learned. I'm
chefs.
one of the gatekeepers in my family.
Okay. Yes. Well, I appreciate chefs and you, and because I'm not a good cook, but I can make a great pineapple upside down cake, but I have to look at the ingredients.
Oh,
So I'm not
well,
like
I'll
you
tell
where
you
you can
what.
create and just do it. You don't have to look at anything, you know? So that's wonderful.
Well, well, it is definitely a journey. I didn't continue wanting to decide at that age that I wanted to be a chef. It was my first interest.
Okay.
And what really peaked that was when my mother said to me, "There's your graduation. Go open up the cabinet and cook us something for this
Oh,
Sunday." Now, in my family, there are still people talking about when somebody in my family cooked that Sunday dinner and it flopped. And
oh,
this is over 30 plus years later. And every time we get together, oh, remember that time when you cooked this? And they're like, oh, when are you going to let this go? No, so that was the pressure I had at a young age. So my mom said, pick out your favorite, go create it. So what I decided to do at that time was shrimp and grits. I'm
oh,
like,
I love
I'm a,
that.
I know how to prep the shrimp. I know how to get that down. I know how to do the grits and combine that with the spices, and voila. So that was a home run when my dad's usually the judge.
Okay.
He would dip his spoon in, take the first bite, and everybody's kind of looking, and then he would just nod his head. Except for when it's really good, he nods his head and goes, that's what I got.
Then
And
you
so
knew that
I'm
was.
like, yeah.
So
That's
what
when
is
I
your
knew that I was on my road to getting started.
wonderful? So what was your most popular dish or your most favorite dish that you cooked or created? If you got one.
My most popular dish that I've created, it's called the waterless cabbage. And
Oh,
we say water, waterless cabbage. It is a specific skilled, simple dish. Everything is made in one pot,
oh,
and that includes all of the ingredients. And it takes less than 20 minutes to make.
oh, that's
And it
nice.
doesn't matter if it's a small pot or a large pot, it still takes 20 minutes.
Okay.
So that's one of my signatures that I learned to create and perfect. I was first taught it by my mom, but then
Okay.
she gave me the reins when she had some of it in the latter years and said, this is all you. You took this to a whole other level. So that's one of my signature dishes that I will start, and I will uh, have people uh, try, and to let them know too that the culinary world is not just only for the super skilled, it's for
Mhm.
anyone who has a love for cooking. So if you can cook this, you can now claim yourself as a cook. You can
Mhm.
claim yourself on a journey to being a chef. So you
Yep.
got that one dish that you can't say you can't cook anymore. So that's my
True.
love. My love is not only creating the dishes, but teaching others. When someone says that they've never cooked or they're not really much of a cook, it's just a
That's
matter of
me.
let's just find your dish, and everyone has one.
True.
Everyone.
Well, mine's a pineapple
So
upside down cake, but that's a dessert. So, but
it's a dish you can do a lot with upside down,
true, true.
especially if you want to stretch it. You can expand the barriers. It's okay to expand those barriers and give different flavors to them.
Oh,
And
that's
you can
true.
even give it to a point where you can kind of have that sweet and sour. And if you want to do that, you can have that upside down, and you can add some additional items and kind of turn it into almost a main course.
Okay.
Now, what
Never
most
thought of
people will
that.
think, how can you do that?
Hmm.
What you can. That's what chefs do. We will create something that is supposed to be a dessert, but you
Hmm.
need to turn that into a main course. Make it
Of
happen. That's
course.
what they do. And then they're surprised by what you present in front of them. So you're there. You are there.
So you have a big event coming up also this Tuesday, October 24th at one of the
Yes.
award-winning best wineries in Michigan at St.
Yes.
Julian's. And I think
Yep.
in
St.
Dundee,
Julian.
Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yes.
they're an amazing history. It's an Italian family that goes all the way back before Prohibition, and then when Prohibition hit, and then when it got legalized all over again.
Oh,
And they're one of the oldest and largest and most awarded vineyards in Michigan. I was invited to their most southern tasting room where I met one of the owners. And
okay.
of course, he has a great love for food. And as we got into a deep conversation, he's like, we got to do something here. And I said, well, it's funny you should ask that. I'm already doing something here. You're just finding out about it. And he's like, oh, really? So
Mhm.
he's coming down. The ownership is coming
Okay.
down to this event, as well as a few celebrities that I did invite. Hopefully, they
Nice.
may show up. They say they will give it a shot. And this is on the music end in here, basically in Michigan. And did some wonderful things that I love to do. I don't know about you. I love to cook and hear great music while I'm
I
doing it.
I noticed that about you from your website. Yeah. You listen, what type of music do you like to cook and have in the background? I
Well,
mean,
first I got to
not what
say
type of
from my
music. Go ahead,
no, that's
sorry.
good. That's a great question because there's all different loves of music that I do really corner to, but my number one choice is always jazz
I
from
love
my
jazz.
lineage that I have. So I love the jazz. I love some of the blues and R&B blends that are out there. I love some of the new wave of different things and what artists are doing with music. One of the, I'd say the best type of music I like is if it is originally
Uh-huh.
created by that artist. In other words, it's not if you unplug to do the music without it.
Gotcha.
That's what I love the most. And so most of the artists that I built relationships over the years is through love of music. I have a huge vinyl collection. So some of you that might be listening out there, you're
Okay.
like, what's vinyl? I said, those were those spinning discs that you put a little needle on and it actually comes out of the speaker
Right.
itself. It's not a CD. It's actually a physical record that you put on there. And it's an amazing, I highly recommend it. And a lot of artists are going back to that.
I noticed
And
that. I'm a
yeah,
huge
do you have
Prince,
a
I'm a huge Prince fan. Do you have Prince on vinyl? Do you have any Prince albums?
I don't have the Prince on vinyl. I have it on audio tape.
Okay.
So the old cassette tapes, I have that. And also,
I have one of his old ones too from back in the day. Cassette, yeah.
yeah, but I do have some of the albums of different people that have worked with Prince and
Oh,
done some
okay.
great things. But that's my journey. I'm looking for that premiere album that I'm going to get with all his collection on vinyl. I want the whole thing, and I want it as best quality as I can get. So I'm
Mhm.
working on that.
Great. And then you also cook with craft beer, correct?
Absolutely.
So can you expand on that? How do you do that? And that's probably real
Well,
flavorful.
yeah, most people when I tell them, they're like, "What? How are you going to
Oh,
cook with beer? You know, what can you cook? Oh yeah, I understand. You can just throw it on top, you know, after you barbecue, and that's what their thoughts are." I said, "Well, we're talking about craft beer. Craft beer is actually made by no less than five, no more than 5 ingredients. That's pretty much it. It's staple. It's all natural,
Oh,
and the
okay.
process and how they do it. So I'm not talking about store-bought stuff. I'm talking about that's actually made from scratch, from farm to finish, and that in those ingredients, if you want to think about it, you have different types of craft beer. You
Okay.
got the one that everybody loves, which is the IPAs
Oh
and the
yeah.
lighter style beers. And then you have the kind of the middle in between, which is the amber style beers, and it kind of gives you that nice little reddish look. And then you also have the darker style, which is the porters and the stouts. Those are the ones that tend to have a little bit more alcohol in them
Oh yeah.
for those that are drinking it from the start. But when you cook, each one of those have a property and a flavor that's
Okay.
each unique of its own because it's how it's made. So when you cook with it, it cooks out all of the alcohol and it leaves
Oh,
that flavor. So it's seasoning.
that's your seasoning.
So it's just
Okay.
another, yes, that craft beer is a seasoning. I've been experimenting and working with that for over 5, 6+ years.
Okay.
And so
That's great to know.
I've cooked desserts with it.
Really?
I've made soups with it. I've also
Oh,
made main course dishes with it. And I've also used it as marinades prior to the actual cooking, and then added some along the cooking process, a different style, just to change that actual seasoning of the dish. So
okay.
I come out with a little bit of, if you want to call me legacy chef, libations chef. So anything libations I've been working with. So wines, um, also coffees and teas
Oh,
that are homegrown and homemade, as well as different types of distillery type drinks. So you got sakes, you've got also bourbons, you've got the whiskeys, you've got all that stuff. There's a difference between whiskey and bourbon. Those of
okay.
you that are the connoisseurs out there, you know what I'm talking about.
See, I don't know about
But
that, but yeah.
it's just a more premier style of whiskey. It's aged in a white oak barrel for a
Oh,
certain number of years, and you can only use that one barrel once. You can't put some more in. It's a whole
that's it.
process and how it's done. But usually you'll know the difference when you see the price. You go in
Okay.
the store and you see the whiskey, and you're like, oh great. Then you see, wow, why is that so much more expensive? And that's why you're getting the authentic bourbon. And that's why
Okay.
that's a big deal for those out there who drink the actual distilled drinks. And so you can actually make that from scratch too as well. Um, that is a wonderful process, and it is a skill that's out there.
Okay. Now you have a website, and what is your website address? I think it's tasteofcraft.net,
Yes,
correct?
that is correct. I wanted the .com, but somebody I guess went out there and bought that years ago, and I said, you know what? And all my friends at the time said, just keep it with the net. I said, okay, why? And so the tagline kind of stuck and said, because it's nothing but the net. They're basketball fans, so
Oh yeah.
I said, all right, so I'll just keep it tastethecraft.net. So I've always kept it that way, and I'm not going to change it. I love that. I might at some point maybe go out there and get the .com, but I just really like the .net, and so
Yeah, I
do
think that's
everyone of my
nice.
fans.
Yeah.
And
And you showcase musicians on there, and there's different videos of you, and you have some comedy side to yourself too, you know.
yeah, there's a whole series that I recorded and I've done. Just haven't had an opportunity yet to kick that in because of all the wonderful things I'm doing as a chef. I come from an entertainment background, so
Okay.
there's multiple gifts and talents throughout my family. And I said, well, why not? Just put it up there. And it kind of stuck. A lot of people like what I've been putting up. And so those will be things that you will see coming out. Some
Okay.
wonderful things that'll be funny to watch, realistic, and entertaining. And so
Yeah.
that's part of what I have on my website. So when you come, you'll see craft beer entertainment, because
Yes.
it's involving all the libations, including what I started with, which was cooking with the craft beers that I really love. And to think of it as seasoning, and that you get more than just the cooking. You get the music, you get
Yeah.
the laughs, you get all kinds of things that will entertain you.
That's
So this
awesome.
is all to promote the culinary world, and those that don't necessarily think they can cook, that you can.
Like me. And if someone
No,
wanted to hire you for an event, or how would they contact you? Through your website or your publicist, Desiree? Or
absolutely.
how would
They
they
can.
get a hold of you?
They would contact me through my publicist. And that's Desiree Vincent. And if you have Instagram, um, that would be at Desiree
Mhm.
L P Desiree L Benson PR. So
Okay,
you can go there, or
on
you can go
Instagram.
to directly to at Desiree
Okay,
Vincent. Excuse me. Let me get that right. Desiree BBB.
yes, yes, awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
Desiree Benson BBB, I believe. Yes.
okay, um, wonderful. So again, everyone, how would they get tickets for your event on next Tuesday? Is there a website they go on, or can they buy it at the door? Tickets?
Well, this is this actual event is area specific. So if you have friends that live in the area, or you're close to the area, you would be able to come. It's
Okay,
not going to be broadcast online. So if you're out of town and you want to have your friends come to
mhm,
the event,
okay,
if the tickets are already sold out, that's no problem. I have an encore that is
okay,
scheduled. And so you'll be able to come to that. Where you want to go, you can go to my actual Instagram account, and you can
okay,
see the flyer with the actual telephone number on there that you can call.
okay,
Um, so go to at Taste the Craft.
okay, and that's your Instagram. Wonderful.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me repeat that. It's at
Okay,
Taste, and then underscore, then the, and then underscore, and then craft.
wonderful.
That'll
Make
take you there.
Okay, I'll make sure I follow you on Instagram and everywhere, and I've seen your website.
Yes,
Um,
you can click on, and if you really want to get there faster, just go to my main website. At the bottom, you'll see the icon for my Facebook page. You'll see my icon for my Instagram. That'll take you right there, and that will give you the same linkage as quickly as possible.
okay,
And that's on tastethecraft.net.
awesome, awesome. Anything in closing that you would like everyone to know about you that they may not know? Like any hobbies or?
Yeah, absolutely. I love collecting comic books.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of those comic book nerds. I love it. I got some serious collection throughout the years, all going back to the old Iron Man, all the way up. So you got the Marvels, I got the DC, and I
Mhm.
also have some of the independent things, such as the Ninja Turtle stuff in its early days, the 4-volume books, all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of people who are into comics, I'm totally into that. Of course, the other thing I already spilled the beans about is I love the vinyl records and music,
Yes, me
and
too.
listening to those as well. So those are my two areas that, if you want to know a little fun fact about me, that's kind of what I can share.
Well, that's cool to know. Yes. Well, I appreciate you let me interview you, Chef Moore. It's nice to meet
Thank you,
you.
Angie.
And I wish I could be at your event, but definitely let me know the next time I will be at, your next event. But thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. So this is Angie with Angie B TV. Follow me on all social media at Angie BETV. Thank you, Chef Moore.
Thank you, Angie. And this won't be the last. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes.